Hello and welcome. This is Getting Started with Email Marketing, talking about creating and building out your campaigns. So glad to have you with me today. My name is Tamara Jaros, and I'm going to be your presenter for this webinar. I work with Constant Contact as an authorized local expert and local product trainer, but I also have my own business where I work with small business owners who want to be able to build out their communication utilizing email marketing as one of the tools in which they do that. And so I love the opportunity to train on Constant Contact's product and be able to share the knowledge that I have so that you can be most successful. So I'm so glad that you're with me. Again, I'm recording this webinar. You will receive a follow-up email that'll have both the webinar recording and the slides from today. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into that chat box window, and then we can most certainly get your questions answered. This time is for you in order for you to be most successful. So I want to share that this is a 4-week webinar series. So if you missed last week, April 3rd, all about contacts, in that follow-up email, it takes you to a resource page, so you'll have access to the resources for the contacts webinar. So you won't have missed any information, just need to take a look at that at a later time. Today is all about campaigns, creating and designing mobile responsive templates. I'm going to be sharing with you the 3rd generation editor that Constant Contact has that's available to all customers. I'll explain how to get that if you currently don't see it the way that I see it. Also, we'll talk about customizing your brand and building out your template to match your company's brand, adding in elements, buttons, and links, and enhancing your template with images and video, as well as incorporating your social media. So this is really all about how to build out campaigns so that you can start sending out campaigns to your contacts. So next week, we're going to talk about reporting. So the campaign that I send today, I'm going to send out, and as a follow-up, we're going to take a look at those reports. So when you get the email campaign from this week, make sure that you open it, click on some links and things like that so that we can make sure to kind of see how that works when we talk about the reporting. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to talk about today specifically. So campaign types, the template picker, all about naming your campaign so that you can find it later, the company branding elements, social media, images and videos, buttons and links, making sure that you have your header and footer all set and ready to go. And then we'll also talk about sending your campaign. Grab a little bit of water there. So first up, I want to make sure that you understand that there's a handful of different campaign types available to you in your Constant Contact account. Excuse me. Just got a little bit of a tickle there. So I was doing good this morning. So we have a handful of different campaign types available to you. So there's email, which we're going to talk about today. We also have event campaigns, coupon, autoresponder, and survey. So depending on what type of an account you have, whether that's email or email plus, these campaign types are available for you. So want to make sure that you know that you can send out other types of campaigns if you have email plus. We will be talking about these in the advanced features. For today, we're going to talk all about building out an email campaign. So when you open up your account and you want to go to creating your campaign, you're going to want to select a template from the template picker that is mobile responsive. We're going to go through those steps today so that you understand what that's all about and making sure that you're picking those mobile responsive templates that are from the 3rd generation. You'll also notice that the templates that have been created are all single column templates. Those are going to be what's best for mobile. So even though you may have different customers that are opening up on their desktop, it's still going to be a best fit for those folks that are taking a look on their desktop or their mobile device. Also, the layout, when you're thinking about which template that you want to pick from, you want to take a look at the layout, and we're going to discuss that when we take a look at the template picker. in order for you to make sure that you're not having to create from scratch. And when you can pick a template that might be the best fit for you. Also, the goal of your content. What are you trying to say or get your message across to your audience? You want to make sure that you take a look at that as well. So here is the template picker, kind of that snapshot of what it looks like. Again, we're going to go into the account, so you'll be able to see this in action as well. But this is just kind of a quick sampling of what it looks like when you go in, so that you'll see that there's some different choices here. This is a screenshot, obviously, from when it was Valentine's Day. Constant Contact's always updating their templates that are available that matches the holidays that are happening. So you can see that there has been some already created with images and already some different kind of like logos and things like that. All of these templates are customizable. Sometimes folks need to see some visuals in order to kind of get an idea as to what their campaign looks like. So that's why you see the top row here without any images, but those placeholders. And then the second line here has the images included. But all of the templates that you see here are the mobile responsive, and that they are customizable to fit. So you can add things and you can also take them away. So it's up to you as to what you want to create. I usually kind of pick that same template and kind of go from there. Once you do select a template, then you want to go in and you want to name your template or your campaign so that you know what it is if you have to come back to it at a later date. Also, it's a good best practice to create master templates. Master template like a newsletter template or an announcement, or if you have a promotional flyer that you'd like to create. That way you can create it once, and then each time that you need to use it, you can copy that template, and then all you need to do is then add in the content, the images, and the links, versus having to create and start from scratch with your branding and then your social media and things like that. Sometimes it's also a good best practice to rename after your campaign is done the name of your subject line as your name of your campaign. This way, when you're looking back at reporting, then you can see if there's any trends with the words that you're using inside the subject line for the campaigns that you're sending out. So that may be one of those ideas that you can use when you're thinking about naming your campaign. When you're building out the campaign and you want to build out your brand, these are the areas that you want to focus in on. You always want to make sure that you're bringing in your logo. Your logo is going to be what helps your email campaign to be quickly and easily identified by your reader. Your logo's best placement is going to be in the center at the top of your campaign, but you can also put it in the left column. But for the mobile responsive templates, when they're sent out and opened on a mobile device, they're going to be put into the center anyway. So I always suggest that you just put it in the center anyway. Colors. You want to obviously build out your brand's colors. Your company has spent a lot of time and energy to select the colors in order to express their brand through those colors. So you want to make sure that you're matching those colors identically. If you're not familiar with what those identical hex code or color codes are, I have some tools available to share with you, but also you can go back to your marketing department. They may have those create those codes for you. The font styles, we're going to talk about those and what that means, and then also your social media. So first up, logo. Here's some different samples where the logo is at the top. It is at the center, and it's going to be what your audience sees right off the bat. And that's what you want to make sure that you are easily identifiable so that your audience isn't questioning, who's this email coming from? That is one of the benefits of email marketing. In addition to that, you also want to make sure that you're linking your logo back to your company's website. What happens then is that if your audience is wanting to get to your website quickly, they know that they just need to tap on that image and then it will automatically take them to the website. Also, a good best practice is to include the company name somewhere inside the text of your email. What happens is that sometimes some people have their images turned off. And since your logo is an image, if it's turned off and there's no text behind it or some alt text there that says, hey, what this image was, then it's very possible that there's going to be this blank space without any information about as to who this email is coming from. So make sure to also include your company's name in the text up at the top as well. Your colors, you'll see here on the left, there's this little build images, and then we have design. This is displaying the third generation's menu bar of when building a campaign. If your campaign doesn't look like this, I'll help you out with that too. But under the design tab is where you're going to find where you're going to build out your colors. So there's an outer background and an inner background of every template. There's also these different styles where you can have buttons and dividers and headlines and also featured blocks, where you'd simply just click on that square there, which is going to open up this screen here where it says buttons and dividers with the more colors. And then here's the area where you can add in that hex code. If you are unfamiliar with what your hex code is, then you can use one of these tools here or another tool that might be already on your system or you have available. The digital color meter ships with Mac computers, so if you're an Apple user, you want to definitely take a look and make sure to see if that's available to you. Otherwise, ColorCop, ColorPix, I like ColorPix. That's the one that I use, and so I can show you how that works today when we're going through. But these are software that you can download to your computer. I know for sure that ColorPix is free, but it's software that I have downloaded, and then anytime I want to match a color identically, I can use the tool, and that way it gives me that hex code. So this FEFDEC, that's going to be the code that I need in order to match that color to the campaign that I'm creating. The font styles that you're using for your campaigns are going to be really important, because what happens is that if your audience is opening up your emails on their smartphones or their mobile devices, usually it's a smaller screen space, and so therefore we need to make sure that the fonts are as clear as possible. And what I mean by that is there's those little tails and hooks that you can see here on the serif or the left side of your screen, like the Georgia or Times New Roman. Those are not going to be good font styles to use if you're wanting to get the best for your reader. You want to choose those fonts that are real clean and crisp, sans serif, like the Arial, Tahoma, Verdana. Those are going to be the fonts that are better for your mobile user. And also, they're designed for digital, whereas the Times New Roman is designed for printed material. Social media. You want to make sure that you blend in your social media if you are social. So you'll see here on the left, here's the social media icons that you can add to your campaigns that you're sending out. On the right side, this is where you're going to add in the links that go directly to that social media profile page. You can select which ones simply by adding that network down here at the bottom. And then if you don't have maybe a Twitter or Instagram account, there's a little trash can here on the right, and you can simply just check on that little box there and it will remove it. You do want to make sure that when you're adding in these social media buttons to your campaigns that you're checking to make sure that those links are linking directly to the page of your social media profile and not your website. Sometimes what happens is that when you're getting started and you haven't established that, then it goes to your website and it doesn't go to the social media page. So just make sure that you're checking your social media that it is linked to the correct page. Now, I had mentioned that there are now elements inside the campaign. This is for the third generation editing software. They're going to have these elements where you can see there's individual elements here on the left where there's an image or a text or a button. These are now going to be those drag and drop features, and I'm going to show you this in the demo, but you want to make sure that you're bringing in these different features into the campaign in order for you to be able to create what it is that you're trying to put together for the campaign. There's also what's known as layouts, and they're going to be just below here, the elements under the Build tab. So you'll see here that there's this T with some lines on the left, and then on the right there's the same, but it has this, like, maybe in your screen it's like a limey green or pale green. This is going to be what's known as more of a featured, and so that background is going to have a color to it when you're bringing in that particular element. Same thing for this one down here where there's an image and a little bit of text next to it. So you can set those up to where you can have some color behind it if you wanted to do that. In addition to that, there's also these two where you have images next to one another as well as text just below it. These will stack when it's displayed on a mobile device, which is really nice. So Constant Context created these kind of layouts in order for you to pull them in together so that it makes it really easy to build out your campaign. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you're adding in images and video. Images help to convey the messages that you're sending. It also draws people in. It helps to also express the message that you're sending. Sometimes it's difficult for us to remember everything that we're reading, but visually we can remember it because of the picture that's in our minds. So you want to make sure that you're adding in images. So this is going to be in the Images tab, and I'll show you about adding in images. That's not really changed from the second generation to the third generation, but also with video, you can do the same thing. Right now, they will accept the YouTube videos as well as Vimeo. What it does is once you put in that URL link, it creates this thumbnail image with this little kind of like the arrow to let people know that press here to play the video. And then you can click the insert button. So images and videos really do help convey your messages. If you're sending those campaigns that are all text, chances are your audience probably isn't responding the same way that you'd like them to. So try to include those images inside your campaign. If you are stuck and need help, you can use the stocked images gallery that's available to you inside your Constant Contact account. You'd simply just type in a keyword that you're looking for, and then you can then pull in the different images that you want. There are two stocked images galleries available. There's a professional, which you'll see charges $8. There's also a free version where you can simply just download as many of the images that you want. They're free to use inside Constant Contact. So that's another resource available that's to you for your account. The buttons and links, some of you may like to have links, text links that you use in order to get people to go to the next step or take that call to action. My personal preference is buttons. I think that buttons help to stand out, and I also think that it adds some white space around the button. You can change the color of a button so it can draw the eye to that space when you're building out your campaign. Sometimes if you have a lot of text, the link text kind of blends in and sometimes people miss it. If we also are thinking of our mobile user, buttons are easier to tap with because it's a little bit bigger too. So make sure that you're including some type of call to action using the buttons or the links depending on what your preference is. But that's the purpose of sending out these campaigns, is for people to take action. And so make sure that you're utilizing those features so that people do take action in the campaigns that you're sending, so that you can actually see if people are responding to the campaigns that you're sending. So I want to share with you that in the header and footer section, there is going to be the spot where you can say who your emails are coming from. Best practices is that you want to let people know who your email is coming from on how people are going to recognize you most. So if people know you by your company name, you always want to make sure that that from section is your company's name, not your personal name, because if they don't know you or recognize you, then chances are they may just delete your email before even opening it. And then kind of an example that I had is that there's an Abracadoodle art studio that just recently opened up. The manager was sending, or the owner was sending, the campaigns from her name. So when I was getting the campaigns, I thought I didn't recognize who she was, but if she would have changed it to her company name, I would have recognized it. So make sure that your from is who and how people would recognize your campaigns that are being sent out. The reply to, where do you want folks to reply to your campaigns? Make sure that that email address is there. That's an email address that you'll need to verify. If you need to change that, you simply go into your settings and then add in the new email address. But you can have multiple different reply to email addresses that you can include. Only one, obviously, per campaign. But if you have different people in your organization, you can make changes to that as you're sending out those different campaigns. The subject line, best practice is 5 to 7 words that are going to be keywords that captures your audience's attention quickly and drives them to want to open the email when they receive the email, not one of those email or subject lines that says, hey, I'll get to it a little bit later. So 5 to 7 words could be like 40 to 60 characters. Sometimes that's not enough to get all your message out. So the pre-header text is the next line of text that displays. So it allows you to enhance and entice your audience just a little bit with a little bit more text. So you want to use those pre-headers to your advantage. What's happened in the older version of Constant Contact is folks would click on the button that says, web page view. So what would happen is it would say the subject line, the latest news for you, and that next line of text to display would be having trouble viewing this email, click here. So now with the pre-header as an option, you can change out that text so that that doesn't, that having trouble viewing this email doesn't appear, but instead something that you want to display. So make sure that you're using these tools to your advantage, because what happens is that if you create this amazing email with awesome offers and a call to action that's super clear and easy, and it's great for your audience and the content's great, if they don't get to this, who it's coming from and your subject line that appeals to them, they're not even going to open your email. So make sure that you invest the time here on that header to get that information correct so that the folks do want to open your email. In the footer section of your email campaigns, as part of the CAN-SPAM laws, it's a requirement that there is a physical address listed. We want to make sure that you're a real legitimate email marketer, and so by doing so, you want to make sure that that's listed. This is part of your account, so it's going to be set up, so you don't have to worry too much about that. You can use a PO box, so if you are a home-based business but have a PO, you can use that if you'd like. Same thing with the unsubscribe option. You can have that, that's part of the CAN-SPAM laws, that it makes it easy for folks that have been subscribed to your list to easily unsubscribe. So simply by having that there, you're compliant with the CAN-SPAM laws for those here in the US. If someone does unsubscribe from your account using that unsubscribe feature from the campaign, they will always be unsubscribed in your account until they resubscribe themselves. So if someone accidentally does it or non-intentionally wants to unsubscribe, they can resubscribe using the web sign-up forms or the text to join, maybe signing in from an offer that you have on your website. So they can resubscribe. Update the profile is all about if someone has changes from one position to a different company, or maybe they got married, want to change their name, they can update their profile information. About the service provider is all about Constant Contact, and then we have the Constant Contact logo that's a part of the campaign at the bottom in the footer section. So that footer section, for the most part, isn't really customizable. Some of that stuff's pretty standard and part of the CAN-SPAM laws. So when you are sending your campaign, and I know that we haven't even created anything yet, but we want to get to this part just so that you can kind of understand. When you're sending your campaigns, you want to select the list that you have created that's going to match for the content that you're sending. So you may want to segment your list. That's a good best practice. We talked about that last week in the contacts webinar. Segmenting helps to be able to ensure that your information is focused for the people that are receiving it. This is what helps to have folks open your emails again and again and again, because they're getting information that's relevant to them. So you simply just check the box that's where that contact list is going to, and then you can click the next button as far as scheduling. I do want to point out that if you check multiple boxes or contact email lists, if someone is listed in more than one contact list, they would only receive your email campaign once. So you don't necessarily have to worry that they're going to get 2 emails. Once you click the send, you can have on which contact list, then you can go to either send now or schedule for later. Send now in the 3rd generation is a true send now. It used to be that there was a little bit of a delay, but that is not happening now. It's a true send now. So if you do send the send now, make sure that you're aware that it's immediate send. Also, you can schedule for later. If you schedule for later, it's up to a year in advance. So there may be some campaigns that you know that you want to be able to send out. You can simply schedule the date and the time. So then you're all set. Also, once you've scheduled your campaigns, then you can also include some posts out on social media. So there's Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn that you can schedule social media posts, and it'll link your campaign that you've created to be able to post out onto social media. So you'd simply just select which social media profile that you want to use, write the post, add an image, and then schedule it out, whether the date and the time that you want that post to be scheduled. So the best way to do it is to see it in action. So I'm simply going to get out of here in order to go into my Constant Contact account. If you have questions, go ahead and type in those questions into that chat box window at this time. All right, I have a couple questions in here. Awesome. Okay. Question was about the third generation editor and how that looks. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So when we want to create our email campaigns, we simply want to click here on this create button, click on email. From there, we're going to get this template picker. Currently, right now, what you're seeing here is the second generation, and the only way that I know that is up here at the top, it says View New Templates. So if I click here on the View New Templates, this is going to take me to the third generation editor. If you don't have that as an option, then you'll want to contact Constant Contact in order for them to update your account. This may not look any different, but I want to show you that there is a difference when we get a little bit farther into this. You'll see here that they've added in Easter as well as Mother's Day campaigns, also graduate. So there's going to be some new campaigns that they've created and added. These are, again, mobile responsive and all single column because that's going to be the best fit. So I'm going to go ahead and select this basic newsletter in order to create our demo today. Again, you'll see here, build images and design. If you are currently seeing colors, fonts, and blocks, you're working on the second generation editor. Build images and design are for the third generation editor, and it also has these drag and drop elements. So that's how you can know which platform that you're working on. In order to get onto the third generation, all you would need to do is reach out to Constant Contact customer support and ask them about updating your account to the third generation editor. There's no charge to do that. It's not an upgrade, it's simply an update to your software. So first things that we want to be able to do is that we want to build out this campaign to match our company's brand. So today we're going to feature Dot's Flower Shop. You'll see here that Dot's Flower Shop has like that purple color in order inside the logo here. In addition to that, they have these other little kind of dots around here, but we want to pull in that purple identically. And I shared with you earlier that there's some different software that you can use. And so I like ColorPix, but you can use other software too. If you are on Google Chrome, there's ColorZilla, or again, if you're on Mac, there's other tools there available. ColorPix. So what I can do is I can put my cursor anywhere over top and I can pull in the colors that I can then use inside my campaigns. And I just simply need to write down that hex code, and then that way when I'm building out my campaigns, then I can just simply match out my colors. So by default, I have uploaded my logo, so that's why you see the Spark Your Leads logo. But you could make sure that your campaigns are set up in the settings and you can add your logo there. But we're going to go ahead and change some things out here. So I'm going to go into the designs, the design tab. And this outer background here is gray. I like to make mine white. And then inside the inner background, I'm going to keep that one white. But then there's buttons and dividers. I want to change out the color. And again, I want to make it to where it matches. And I want to pull in that purple. So I simply want to highlight that, and I want to pull in the purple so that it matches identically to my logo. So there's the purple. My headlines, I want to keep and kind of like make it not so colorful. So even though with Dot's Flower Shop, there's these extra colors here, I don't want to put in too many colors. Best practice is 2 to 3 colors for each campaign that you're creating, not including black and white. What happens is then if we put in too many colors, then our messages get distracted. So keep your color pattern to 2 to 3 from your logo, even though I have more options here. Now, what I may want to do, I may want to change out these individual dividers to a different color altogether, and I can simply do that individually, not necessarily going through the tab on this under the styles section. I can do it this way where I individually do it. And now I have the pink, so I can kind of pull it in and have a little bit of fun with it that way too. So again, I want to make sure that I am building out my campaign. I want to make sure that I'm going to get my logo here. So I'm simply going to pull in my logo. This is a different software that I'm using to capture that screen share. I'm just going to go ahead and save this inside Constant Contacts. And right here, I'm going to put in Dot's logo. and that way I can pull in this image when I want to put it into my campaign here. So in order to replace this image, I'm simply going to click here in this area, click on replace. This is not changed, so this is going to look similar for those of you that are building out campaigns. And I'm going to click on upload. Now I'm going to need to browse my computer where I have it saved. So again, I have to look for where I have this saved. Whoops. Images here, and I can go into dots, logo. I was hoping that that would pull up, but it's not pulling up. So we have dots, logo. Now I can go ahead and add in the alt text. Again, another best practice is to put in the alt text when you're adding in images so that if the image doesn't display, then the text will display. Click on upload file, and then from there you can click done, and now your logo is now inserted into your campaign. You can use a little arrow here to increase or decrease if you wanted to, simply by changing that. And then the one last step here, and I had shared with you, is to add in the URL link. So I'm going to simply click there in order to then link the website to my campaign. Anytime someone then receives this campaign, simply can click here on the logo and it automatically takes them to the website. So that's kind of the first step. So I want to build out this campaign to kind of, again, to send out for April. We have, Easter in April, so I want to send out some different pictures. So here, actually, like when I go back to the build tab, I like this that's going to be next to one another. So I want to take these here and I just want to delete these out because I want to add in those other layouts that are going to be a better fit. So you'll notice here there's a little wheel and you have the option to delete it, to copy it, or to add color. I want to delete this and I want to repeat this same step here and delete this out. I'm going to delete out that line there because I want to change it out to the pink anyway. So I'm going to pull this in. All I'm doing is dragging and dropping. You can see that there's a pink line. It might be kind of hard with these colors, but there's a pink line where that placement will be of that element. I could do it because this is a larger one. It's going to be across like this. But if I had where I wanted to put in a button next to a button, you'll see here that I have the little pink line next to it. So now I have two buttons next to one another. Or I could also move my button to where I have it to where it's like up above. So you can see how you're just moving it around to wherever that placement is based on that line, and you can see where the placement will be. So I want to build out my campaign. And I'm going to build out first that master template. So in this case, we have the volume, the month and date, and this is going to be what I would want to keep. We have here where I have our logo. Maybe we want to have maybe a name. So, whoops, can't really see that very well. Flowers to brighten your day. Maybe I'd want to put Happy Easter as part of my greeting there. This is going to be a little message here. Visit our website. So this is going to be that button that you can then link back to the website. So I want to make sure that I'm linking all of those buttons so that make sure that if people want to get to my website, they can most certainly do it simply by clicking on the buttons. As I go down a little bit farther, there's this section here where it's the kind of that about us. So I want to change this out here. So dots, flower shop. Whoops, let me get my fingers working here. I want to add in the phone number so that it matches identically. And I'm going to take out the fax too because I don't really need that. So my phone number here and then 2121. And here I could add in the email or the website. I'm going to take out email. Again, I'm building out kind of what would be this master template so that every time it's all set and ready to go. And maybe what I want to do is take this out completely, and instead I just want to put in the address. So I'm going to put in here Main Street, and this is in New Hampshire, and then something like that. So there, now we have the address. So simply click done. And now I'm going to update my social media. So I'm going to come here and you'll see here there's the edit, and here's where you can add in those different icons for the social media. You can move these around. Maybe you want to, Google Plus is your preferred, so you want to be that one first. Maybe move these around to have red and red on either end. I don't know exactly. But let's take a look here if we are on, we're on Facebook and we are on Yelp. So then we can come here to the Facebook page and we can copy that so that we can make sure that it's identical to, again, to match. We are do not have Google Plus, do not have the Twitter or LinkedIn or the YouTube, so we're going to take those out. You'll notice here that there's not a Yelp, so if we wanted to go ahead and insert that, we would need to then pull that little icon in specifically. For this one, I'm going to bypass doing that just because I want to, it's not going to be able to be in that area there with it being Yelp, so I'm just going to keep it as just Facebook, and then that way, that's the only one that I have that folks can go to. So here's my campaign as my master template. So I want to come up here to the top where we want to rename it. I'm going to put in here master newsletter template. That way it's all set and saved. If I wanted to be able to use this template, what I'm going to do is click save, and then I'm going to come back out here to campaigns, and I want to copy it. And that way all of what I've just created is always going to be there, and I don't have to worry about recreating that information. So my logo is going to be there. I'm going to put in here my April Easter flower sale promotion. And then that way I can have it renamed. Again, good best practice would be to rename it to the subject line, so I could go back and rename this when I'm all done with the campaign. So here, I'm going to go to my flowers here that I want to pull in. So here's a nice bouquet of tulips. I just clicked on the image, and now what I want to do is I want to bring this image into my account. So I'm just simply going to copy this image here. I'm going to capture, save, and I'm going to put in here tulips. I'm going to put in here dots so that I can go back to this later. So I'm going to pull in this arrangement here. I also may want to pull in this spring zing, and then that way I can have this one here as well. So simply just copying again, just getting my images all set, copy and then save, and I'm going to put in here dots spring zing, get my fingers working there. And now I can bring in those images. But what I can also do here is that I want to be able to bring in this little description here. So here I'm going to copy and I want to put it back in here over here where I'm going to put in this information. So we have spring zing as my title. We're going to bold that, so we want to make it stand out really nicely. I'm going to increase the font size. Again, the best practice font size is an Arial or something that's crisp and clean. So here I'm going to maybe even put this to where this one is centered. Whoops, didn't want to center there for me. Center that, and maybe we even want to go in a little bit bigger. Maybe even want to bring in and make it pop by changing the color. So spring zing. And then I'm going to be able to add in that image into my campaign simply by uploading from the file. And I'm going to go in and get them both while I'm here. Let me just scroll down to dots so I can bring in those images at the same time. And then, again, I want to add in the description so that if this image doesn't display, I can dots, flowers, and then I'm going to put tulips for spring. And then that way, if the image doesn't display, at least there's some text there that lets your audience know that there's something there. They just need to download those images in order for them to display. So here we have the insert this one. So we have the spring zing, and then we'll come over here, we'll insert our tulips. Go ahead and click insert, and then we'll come back here to the bouquet. There's also an option here to buy now. So I want to, again, make sure that we can capture all of this so that we can get folks to do that. So I'm going to copy the URL for this particular page in order to be able to, again, link it to that flower arrangement, simply clicking paste, and then also add in a button so that if someone wants to order this particular flower arrangement, we can make sure that they're getting it and they will be able to buy now. So here I'm not doing anything fancy, but short of just inserting it, buy now. I will increase the size because, again, I want people to take that call to action. So here we have our Spring Zing flower description, a little buy now button if someone wanted to purchase that. I'm going to repeat those same steps as we go back to the tulips so that people can get that arrangement information. So here we're going to pull that in here. So copy, and then we'll go back here. It's not a lot, not necessarily a lot of a description here, but we'll just see what we could do. Put a little comma, make it a little bit exciting here, kind of exciting. Again, we'll increase the size of the font. Make that 16. Actually, I think it was 14. Then we're going to change this. Again, we want to build out the same so that there's a balance here. Change it. And then we'll also make this centered. Oops, not sure why that's not doing it for me. And then we can, maybe we want to put a little space there. And then we want to, and this is a great example here where we have, maybe what we want to be able to do is we want to put a little bit of, the button like we have over here for the Spring Zing, but over here for the tulips. So if I bring a button in, what's going to happen is it's going to go right below that text. But what I want it to do is I want to make it sure that it's lined up. So I'm going to bring in a spacer bar, and this is going to be best practice for that mobile. And so now I can just drag and drop it down. And then I want to change this to where it's now 18 so that I can do that buy now and that it's balanced so that when I'm building out my campaign, I can simply just make sure that it looks its best, again, for my mobile user. And so I probably would want to enhance this description a little bit more so that it fills it in. But if I don't, I want to make sure that it's set up and spaced nicely. So if I go ahead and click Save, I just want to show you here, Save. When I click on the Preview button, you'll see here where I have a desktop view as well as a mobile view. And if I look at it on mobile, you'll see here how it'll look, and it just stacks everything really nicely. So same thing applies when we're looking at our campaign. If you want to, at this point, check links. So I clicked here on the dots logo, takes me right to the website. That works. If I want to go here on the tulips, I didn't click and make that a clickable link, right? So I'm missing out on an opportunity to get my audience to be able to click on those links. But here on Spring Zing, it takes me automatically to the Spring Zing page to purchase. So that's what you want to really focus in on, and not having your audience having to hunt and peck on your website in order to find things. You want them simply to go exactly where they need to go based on what information you have them linked to. So I would come back in here and I would update this link here so it matches identically to the arrangement. Copy and then paste it there. Same thing here on the Buy Now button. You want to link them right there. It's all set. Insert. So now this campaign's all good with the exception of a subject line and pre-header. So this is here where I'm going to change this out. So I might just say, Easter flowers to send to your special someone. Again, a subject line that captures their attention, and maybe you want to put here free shipping today only, something like that. It creates that sense of urgency. That way you can kind of get it out there. So here we have our campaign. We're going to update this here. Maybe I'm going to take this out. Instead of month, I'm just going to put in April, and then 2017, click done. And now my campaign is all set, ready to go. Click Save. I've previewed it and I've checked my links. So I know that those are all set. I can click on the Continue button. And then from here, I can go ahead and select the list that I want to send it to. I'm going to select me as the list. Sometimes I schedule these and I send them to people and I don't mean to send them. So here we have our list that I want to be able to send to, but maybe if I wanted to send to a few more, I could do that. I could also segment. Again, remember we talked last week about narrowing based on tag. So if I pulled in all of these different groups, I could narrow by tag based on the tags that I have. So maybe I only wanted to do, designers or something like, and someone who has a tag of designers and direct mail. So then apply the filter, and then you can send to only those who are tagged with. Apply, and now we have it set up to where we have, 3 different lists, but there's only one person that matches that fit. So keep that in mind when you can build these out to better send to the right people. If I click right now, send now, it's going to truly do a send right now, but if I wanted to schedule for later, I could simply click here, determine when I want to send it. Obviously, if this was truly for Easter, we wouldn't want to send it on the 15th. We would have wanted to do this a few weeks earlier. But for demo, I want to be able to show you how you can truly customize this out. You can do a send me early results. What will happen is 48 hours after your campaign has been sent, you'll get an email campaign to let you know where the metrics are, which is always nice and a good lead in for next week. So again, we go ahead and click schedule. Now this campaign will be scheduled for April 15th and at 5:10 a.m. So earlier I had shared with you that you can schedule out on social media. So in this case, if I wanted to, I could schedule it out onto the Facebook page. If I were part of Dot's Flower Shop, I could truly set this up to where it would link, but we're going to show you kind of here on mine. So what happens here is I already have these different accounts linked to my account. I may just want to select one or the other. You can see here that it pulled in the subject line, but you can truly customize this. And you really want to think when it comes to this point, how do people read your posts on Facebook in the case of this example? If it were Twitter or LinkedIn, how are people reading those posts? That's how you want to write this area here, because that's where it's gonna go. So you want to make sure if Easter flowers to send to your special someone is something that you would post out on Facebook, totally fine. Then you could go ahead and use that. If it's not, you want to customize this area here. In addition, you want to pick an image that's going to blend with your campaign that you're sending out. That's going to be easily recognizable so that when it posts to Facebook, in this case, that there's an image, and then when they open up the link, they can go, here's the link that matches, So, again, you want to customize that and bringing in those images. Also, you can select multiple posts here. So I'm simply just clicking on these little dates here. You can see how that Monday the 17th was added, Wednesday the 26th, and then also Friday, May 5th. So you can customize this, you can bring these in, you can schedule more posts simply by just going through those simple steps here and then clicking schedule. Once you set up these posts, they're scheduled, all set, ready to go, and then it's kind of a set it and forget it, and you don't have to worry about going back and doing more social media posts individually in those accounts. I am going to click cancel just because I don't really want these to post to my Facebook page, but I wanted to share that with you. So I want to open it up now. Any questions? We have about 10 minutes left, so we can go ahead and answer any questions that you have. So go ahead and just type those in. Any questions that you have? What was that image capture software? That image capture software is what's called Zing, Z-I-N-G. Let me go here. I can show you. No, actually, it's not Zing. I've got that flower arrangement on my mind. It's Jing. It's J-I-N-G. So here's the software. So you could just capture. And it does more than just screen capture. You can do a little bit more than that, but you can also do a little video capture too. But I use it just for capturing, just like I did, just to kind of capture that logo. But it's Jing, J-I-N-G. Great question. Any other questions that you may have? Yeah. Questions. Any questions? If I missed the meeting on April 3rd is another way to get the webinar. Yeah. So if you missed the April 3rd All About Contacts and the follow-up email I'm going to send you, you'll see a link to a resource page that's going to capture April 3rd, the 10th, and then also the next 2 weeks. So you don't have to worry about missing anything because it's great information along with resources too. So awesome. Any other questions that you have? Go ahead and type them into that chat box window. Can you show the social media share again? Yes, I can. So once you've scheduled your campaign, you can then come in here to your schedule page. And even if you logged out of Constant Contact and you're like, oh, I wanted to schedule it and you wanted to do it here, you could still come into here where your campaign is scheduled and just simply click here on the actions drop down. You click on unschedule, but you're really not going to unschedule it. But this is going to take you to this page here, and then you can scroll down to this schedule post area. And then from here, what you can do is then schedule the ones that you want to schedule. Now, if you currently don't have this set up, you click on this Options tab, and here's where you can add in your social account. So you'd simply click on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. You will need to be the admin on these accounts and logged into that account in order to link those accounts to your Constant Contact account. Once you do it, you don't have to go back each time and do it. I know there's a little error here but on mine, but you don't have to repeat that step. Once they're connected, then you can always click on which ones that you want it to post to. So you may have a special post that you want for Facebook, and you may have something separate that you want to post for LinkedIn and separate something for Twitter. You can totally do it that way too, or you can have it the same. That's up to you as far as which social media profile that you have. Then you would come in here and you would change out the message. So spring a little, I'm changing this up just while we're doing here. Spring a little zing to your favorite sweetheart. Your sweetie. I'm just going to put this here, this Easter. So I'm just kind of changing it up a little bit. I'm going to add in my image simply by clicking on the little icon. This time I might just add in the tulips. And then over here, I can then determine what time this would actually be scheduled. Now, this first one this campaign was scheduled for April 15th at 5:10. So then it just picked 5 minutes later. But you could actually schedule this for a different time if you wanted to. Then here I can click on any of these other dates if I wanted to post out more social media posts, and then it would automatically post once I clicked on the schedule button. So awesome. Any other questions that you have? Go ahead and type into that chat box window. Got a few more minutes here. Any other questions? Go ahead and type in your questions that have here. Awesome. No other questions coming in. Nope, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I'm just going to come back here to Constant Contact and just go into the next week. We're going to be talking all about reports. Really, I'm going to send out an email campaign follow-up from today. If you can, just kind of open it, click on the different links. We can kind of see then those metrics and kind of see what happens, and I can show you some different features and things like that. So definitely click on the link. Also, we're going to talk about the different reporting that you can view when you're sending out campaigns using Constant Contact, talking about which campaigns or which metrics to truly metric and measure and things like that. And then also calls to action. So we didn't really talk a lot about the calls to action today, but calls to action make a difference when we're sending out campaigns. So next week's all about reporting. So thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Hopefully this doesn't sound too bad on the recording. And hopefully next week I will sound and feel a lot better. Again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them into that chat box window. I'll wait just a couple more minutes. And then that way we can answer any questions that you have. But if not, have a great week and happy Easter. So thank you.